Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dr. Ini Adesanya show. Very excited, always excited to be in, here. um, you know, um, just very excited, and of course, thank you everyone as always for joining me, being part of this program, this show. I know that it's been, I think, a couple of months now, so I just wanted to say a big thank you. Of course, if this is the first time of you watching or being part of this show, this is a show where I share resources. Of course, the Dr. Nia Desnia show, not to say that. So it's a program where I share resources, provide informative and educated resources for small and medium-sized enterprises. Um, that's generally what I do here. And of course, I bring people on board that will actually speak sometimes, or I even ask questions. People send their questions and I answer, general questions. I have people that even call in or even appear on the show and ask questions. People come in and share their experiences or their issues. Well, so glad to have you here. And this is still, it's amazing. We're already in February. I mean, amazing, right? So I'm very happy that we made it to the second month of the new year. So still new, yes, still new. And so as always, I'm able to bring very exciting, very interesting topics. And the topic today I have is also another interesting, another educative topic. Um, so today, I'm going to share something that is important, and I know that I say this a lot of times. Important, everything is important. I try. All right, and so one this is something that I know that a lot of people struggle with, and I want to bring it to light. Right, and my topic today is 7 ways to safeguard your small business from failure. Right, 7 ways to safeguard. We have so many good ideas and we start, and some of us have already started small business. So, the SME, small and medium-sized enterprise, you've started and you're so excited. And I always congratulate people that have stepped beyond their comfort zone to start a business. That is amazing. And if you haven't given yourself a pat on the back, I'm applauding you right now. So kudos, kudos, kudos. But you didn't get into business to fail. I want to make sure you understand that. And I'm just going to give you some pointers. I'm giving you 7. Of course, there are many. I'm sure you can find 20, 10, 15. You can find, it's not exhaustive, but I'm just going to give you a few points, 7 of them, to safeguard your business from failure, right? You have to, put in, make sure that, there's there's some of the tips or some pointers that I would, mention here that what can you do to safeguard your small business or from failure, right? Now, again, the list it's not exhaustive, right? But let me just start with the first. The very first is discipline. You, I mean, if you, those that know it, they know it. If you have a job that is a W-2 job or whatever job that you get paid because the W-2 is what we use in the US, but we have at least T4 in Canada or so many other forms. I believe it's T4, but just in case I missed it, just forgive me. But just know that any salary paying job, you definitely have to wake up early in the morning. Sometimes to drive maybe through the traffic, you might, unless you work from home, that's fine, but you still have to wake up and log in. You still have to make sure that everything is, you're meeting milestones. You have to do those stuff because without that, you know what, you won't be paid a salary, right? So that is given. But when it's your business, some people take this for granted. So it's my thing. So I can actually take my time and do what I feel like I can. I don't really have to, I can just do as I like. I can be like a disciple, I can be lazy, I can, it doesn't really matter. Yes, it does. Yes, it matters. Yes, it matters. Because you have to have the discipline, you have to have the drive to wake yourself up in the morning and say, you know what, I have some targets to meet, right? I need to make sure that this is done. you know, many businesses, many small business owners, they actually have, a process every day, right? And that takes discipline, right? You made some people say, oh, the first thing I do is I just see if there's any email that I've not responded to, I didn't meet last or the day before, I get on it, right? You have to be disciplined. You have to be able to put in the work. Now, if you're not in the mood or you cannot put in the work, then I'm sorry to say this. This is not for you. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. But you have to know, you have to put in that work, right? I mean, even if you tell you have a team working with you, right? The leader, the behavior of the leader, right, rubs off on the people that work with that leader. So I would say that disciplining yourself, people see you and say, okay, this is my boss. My boss does this. So my boss is very precise. My boss, you're disciplined. I mean, you need to be disciplined, right? You need to really say, yes, I know it's my business. I know nobody will fire me because it's my business. But guess what? You can fire yourself. Sorry. And how do you fire yourself? By not being disciplined, by not following through, So it's so important. So before I even go into the other 6 criteria, you have to talk to yourself, right? Advise yourself, right, to be disciplined. Sometimes even I know how people take some things, even beyond work. I know how some people are very strict with their exercise regimen. I know how they do that. They make sure that they wake up so early to make sure that they hit their targets every week. So they say, okay, maybe I'm exercising 3 times a week. They do their best, right? That is the kind of discipline. Even sometimes, even beyond that, you need to really make sure you are doing well. So discipline in waking up, discipline in having those um, those goals and following through with those goals. Discipline, discipline, discipline. All right, that's number one. Okay, so if you trust that yardstick and say, yeah, you know what, I got that. I'm disciplined. I know what I'm doing. Then the next one, I will say. Of course, this is not in chronological order. It's like you can take it, mix it and put it as you like. But again, for informative and educative purposes only. All right. So, what I give here, you have to go back to the drawing board and see what works for you. Another way to safeguard your small business from failure is to make sure you plan appropriately. What does that mean? Okay. Okay. Do you have some strategies in place? Right. For example, I know I have some of the shows that actually I spoke about marketing. Do people see? It doesn't matter how great your product is. If your product is in your office, if your product is in, I would say in the closet. The closet means that the product is not yet out. Nobody knows about it, but it's a fantastic product. Then you're not planning well. What is your marketing strategy? What about sales? Okay, people love your product, but how about sales? I mentioned this in one of my shows, but if you haven't watched the show, I would say that let me repeat it here. Let me say that here. There's something called stock out cost. What does that mean? Now, if let's say your product is fantastic, great, and I am maybe a customer, let me say it's my business, a customer likes a particular product. Or customers, you have like 5 products, and the customer like maybe they like all the 5, but there's one they love so much, right? You have to determine how based on trend analysis. Okay, this product, how often do I have to replenish the stock? How often do I have to make sure that it's on the platform, it's on the how often do I have to restock it? Because that's called, if somebody continues to come and say, oh, it's not out of stock, guess what? That stock have cost, meaning that the person will go out and look for an alternative. So you have to have you know, appropriate, you have to plan appropriately, right? What about your operations? What are you doing to make sure that your operations are flowing? What are some of the things you are putting in place? And of course, please and please, I've mentioned it and I'll continue mentioning it. Don't do it alone, right? If some of these areas, and for example, I'll use accounting for example, right? I tell my clients that you didn't get into this business to understand accounting so much, the intricacies of tax planning, tax laws. That you didn't. I mean, that's not why you got into this business, right? You got into the business because maybe you have a passion for that what you're doing. So I mean, use a professional. Use a professional. There's nothing wrong with using a professional. Like for my firm, right? I do a lot of outsourcing, right? For clients. Outsourcing means that they don't hire me as a full-time staff, but they outsource my services so that you know what, that I come in as needed, and one thing that is beautiful about my practice that I have flat fee rates, so there are no surprises, right? Gauge you and see how much work I'm doing for your um, business, and then I will give you the flat fee rates that we offer. So you have to plan appropriately, right? Remember, our goal is to make sure that your business doesn't fail, right? If you don't plan, then there's a problem. If there's no marketing strategy, then there's a problem. If there's no sales strategy, there's branding. What about operations? And operation doesn't only mean sale. Operations, people tend to look at revenue, revenue, revenue. Revenue is good. But if you don't maintain the expense, the actual operation of the business, your business can actually fail. Because sometimes if you have a lot of revenue, but you don't know how to manage your expenses, you don't know how to just manage the business just managing the business, it will fail and you don't want it to fail. So again, don't shy away from using professionals. All right. The third, the third way to safeguard your small business from failing is monitoring cash flow. Monitoring cash flow. Yes, this might be a tight somehow to planning, but we could actually separate this because a lot of times, businesses need funding. Now, there's a show that I talked about funding, but I will put some pointers out there. If you have bills to pay in your business, it should be it should be a kind of relationship with your creditor that you can delay payment of credits, right? Of payments of invoices, right? Payments like your creditors, but just like accounts receivable and accounts payable, but get your money early. So that really tricks, or that really shortens or prevents really not having so much cash available, right? What does that mean? Let's say if you have, sometimes people that have a lot of maybe for example, let me maybe just for a purpose of example, maybe you have to buy raw materials. If you have been with this person for some time, with this company, just say, you know what, can I delay paying a little bit? And the company has seen that you are credit worthy. They might not have a problem. You say, okay, instead of paying for within 15 days, let me pay within 30 days or maybe 45. If you negotiate with your credit, that's a plus. But on the flip side, with those that owe you, like your accounts receivable, I'm not saying that you should be mean, but I'm just saying that, I mean, as much as possible to get your money on time, right? If let's say an accounts payable, like if it's a creditor said, you know what, I'll give you 30 days, right? And then your clients will always paying you maybe weekly. You can say, you know what, pay me within 15 days, something like that. But get money faster than paying, if possible. Know how to arrange that. Of course, you have to, you know, beautiful to work with a professional to see how this works. Of course, we are available. My firm is available. And also, it's very important that if you're looking for funding, which there's nothing wrong with funding, make sure that the interest rate is not so wacky up there high that you can't, just because you need the money. You need to do a proper analysis. So you don't want to get a bunch of loans and every money you're making is going into interest payment, right? You have to really sit back and say, okay, how do I analyze this to make sure that cash flow is not a problem, right? There are so many soft loans out there for small businesses. I mean, I know that small businesses run the economy. Yes, that is true. And for businesses, and a lot of times the government has so many soft loans out there. So Again, there is a show on that. Please watch my shows. I mean, watch the show and really look into a way to get funding if you're looking for loans, right? But the point here I'm making is that please make sure you're up and doing when it comes to your cash flow, right? If there are areas that you need to cut down even within the cash flow body analysis, again, use a professional if it's something that you cannot do. So that's the third part. So many businesses can be trapped, I say, oh, I don't have the cash to settle. And of course, there's nothing wrong with you. If there's a delay here and there with getting payment, you can actually talk to your creditors and say, you know what, I'm going to pay, maybe let them delay it a little bit if they're not giving you maybe 45 days to pay, for example. So manage your cash flow. Remember, we're looking at ways to safeguard your small business from failure. All right. The fourth point is innovation. This is another important point. I mean, everything I say, I know you're going to say everything I say is important, but look at it. One thing that I saw, of course, I mean, what happened with COVID was really, really sad. But one thing I saw with COVID is that people became innovative, right? So you have to make sure that, you're not getting stuck with old technology. You're not, I mean, you're keeping up with changes in technology. Now, you might say, okay, how do I know those changes, right? What's happening there, right? In addition to having maybe a professional, I would say this is would I say a broader platform where I personally feel to get or have that knowledge base of how to be very innovative. I would say that one of the things you can do is continue to mix with your the industry, and I mean, we continue to go for industry meetings, find out conferences that relate to what you are doing, because you actually come to find out that there's so much innovation. So much innovation. You have to step up and say, okay, what is happening in my industry now? You have to. I want to make sure a caveat here. Step back. Do not just say, oh yeah, there are 20 technology. No, I'm going to use. I mean, I'm going to pick up as many as I want. No, you have to look at what works for you, because remember, even though somebody is in your industry, right, you might not have the same exactly every feature or everything that person is actually offering. So why would you get a technology or use technology that doesn't is I mean half of what they're offering, you're not going to use it, they're just paying money for that. No, 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 no. You don't do that. So make sure that yes, even though you're being innovative and with technology and everything, you're very, very you're very careful in picking the right technology specific to your needs. I had mentioned this in again one of my shows on how to choose the right technology. So really look at what works for you. Of course, don't forget about the cost benefit analysis, right? What are you putting in? What are you getting back from this technology? But it's very important for you to be innovative. So many people are still stuck. Oh yeah, I've used it for 10 years, and it's technology. There should be a change. Dig in, find out what's happening. And if you need to get someone to help you, please don't shy away from that. All right, don't shy away from that. Okay. The fifth is constant review of changes required for your business. Now, we talked about, or I talked about technology. That now, in this case, I'm talking about general review of everything. One of my shows talked about SWOT analysis, right? SWOT analysis, right? Strength, the strength of your business, right? The weaknesses and the opportunities and the threats. Oftentimes, these changes, there are things that could happen, and these threats, the opportunities, weakness, and strength could actually change. They can actually change, and so you have to constantly review the changes required within your business. What is happening there? What is the trend? What is going on? Right? Is there something that's happening in the environment? Is there a law that's just been passed that will affect your industry? Is there, and this affecting the industry both ways. It could be positive, it could be negative. If so, don't people think tax, let me use tax. Oh, tax, oh, anything that comes out in tax is bad. No, 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 no. Not that. It's not always, it's not, I'm not going to say it's always, it's not, I won't say it's bad. I'm just saying that it's important for you to also understand compliance, right? I'm not an attorney, but I mean, my background is also, and my background is in taxes. So it's very important that you continue to analyze, and that's just tax. There could be anything. It could be anything that maybe an environmental policy that has happened, or maybe there's something out there that actually really boosts your business, right? You need to constantly review what's happening. I mean, and you have to be careful because I know that a lot of people get caught up with this, and I noticed that too. When I think, for example, in my field, I was just looking at something in the internet on my laptop, and something popped out about a tax law, something like that, a tax ruling, and it was someone that was just giving I think it was the person's opinion and giving wrong interpretation of what, and it was an opinion, right? Let me not use the word opinion. It was something the person was trying to, or not trying, the person did it, right? Was writing something that was incorrect, was just incorrect. And I knew that what the person was writing was actually incorrect because it's my field, all right? It's my field. I've spoken to somebody before that's something in her own field too. She said, "Oh yeah, this one." When I looked at the internet, when I looked at this is totally incorrect. And so when I say that review, check what's happening, be careful which websites you go to get the information for your business, right? Because now, anybody can type anything in the internet. Specifically, there are specific websites I go to for my professional knowledge, right? Of course, I have my um, platform for for my licenses and everything. But there are specific platforms I go to, even just to read. And I know because I know which platforms are authentic. So when I say review, look at the changes, look at what's the environment, look at your SWOT analysis. Please make sure you're checking the right website, make sure you're checking the right magazines or whatever. Make sure you're actually making sure that making sure you're making sure making sure that you're checking this information on the right platform. All right. So please constantly review. Remember, the goal is to safeguard your small business from failure. So checking and then making sure you know what is happening out there. Don't be an island, right? Don't lock yourself in and so I'm focusing on my business. No, talk to people, find out what's happening. When I say talk to the right people that give the right information, right, is very important. All right. Then the next step is, and again, this is not in chronological order, and again, the list is not exhaustive, but the next one I would bring forward is constantly reviewing your leadership and staff. Now, if you're the only business owner, fine, this might not apply. If you're the only person that is in leadership, not the only business owner, you might be the only business owner. We have other people in leadership there. You have to constantly review what they are doing. Even your workers, if you're the only staff, that's fine. But if you have anybody working with you or working for you, I know that I mentioned this, in a couple of, in one of my shows or, different ways. I know that it's good to keep good staff, but make sure the staff you're keeping are actually good staff. Okay, good staff. It's important for you to constantly review leadership and staff. Now, if this is not working out, if you see that, oh, I thought this person was really the real thing, the real deal, and you find that, oh, no, this is not who you're going to work with, this is not how you want to work, right? Then it's time for you to say, okay, either you review their responsibility or if they're really, I know that sometimes to let people go might not be the best, but at the end of the day, if you can change the person's responsibilities. Now, for example, if this person is your front, is not good in customer service, but the person is very good in bookkeeping within the company, or the person is very good in filing or administrative work, then you can flip and make sure the person is doing what the person is good at, right? The staff, right? It's very important. But I also want to make sure you note to hire the right staff. I know that there's a show on that very important for you to hire the right staff. I mean, sometimes you can make mistakes and know that, but make sure you're hiring the right staff as you need the staff, not just an emotional thing. Oh, I feel like hiring this staff. No, if it's not necessary, there's no need to hire. If the person is on staff and you can see that the person can do more than one responsibility, please include that in the person's job, right? In what the person is doing. But I want to also state that please and please, employment contracts, make sure you review it with an attorney. Make sure, because it's all rosy, beautiful and rosy when you hire people, but when there's a situation, then you see that it's not so rosy. Please pass any employment contract through an attorney to make sure that you've dotted your I's and you cross your T's. You do not want to make a mistake and hire somebody, and if it's not working out, then that person takes you to court. You don't want that to happen. So make sure that that is already done. I know I had mentioned that in one of my shows, but I just want to reiterate that. Okay, make sure. So, but again, we're going back to that number 6. Constantly review the leadership. Constantly see, can you change somebody? Can you promote somebody? Can can this person do, trim down on one side and just focus on, maybe you need somebody more on marketing, as more on marketing as opposed to administration. It just depends. But just continue reviewing your leadership, what their responsibilities are, and also your staff, right? What are they doing? And of course, always have yardsticks to measure these staff, right? What to measure, when I say that staff, measure their responsibilities. Are they meeting what what you ask them to do? Now, I've heard people say this. I expected more from this person, but when people tell me that, I said, did you actually tell? Because small businesses might have, it's not large companies, they know how performance and all those things. But small businesses sometimes take it for granted. So I always say, before you even hire, right? Or even when you hire, you have to make sure you're clear on your expectations for these people, anyone working for you, so that you can actually check, oh, this expectation has not been met, this has been met. And if there's a room for improvement, you actually help the person improve. I still go back to great staff or good staff are hard to find. If somebody's struggling, of course, in a certain area, it's not that you should fire. Just try and make sure the person, help the person to do well, because maybe the person is actually very good in other areas, like coming to work on time, really passionate about doing your work. So you will see those things, right? So, see how you can make that person feel better. It's always not a bad report all the time. If the person does well in certain areas, give the person a thumbs up, high five. I mean, okay, but you know what I mean when I say high five, you don't have to high five, but just say thumb, just appreciate the person, okay? If you want to do that, high five, that thumbs up, great, write the person a great email, that's up to you, right? Just make sure you do that, okay? Because who doesn't like being appreciated, right? I do, all right? All right, so the last, which is the 7th, right? Again, it's not in chronological. You can put it as you like, but I believe that this is the best way to go. The 7th is making changes as needed. Making changes as needed, okay? And what do I mean by that? Action, action, action. You have to, it's important that you perform, like when you have gone through all this review and everything, do something about it. You've done your SWOT analysis, you've looked at the cash flow, you've done everything, innovation, do something about it. Make the changes, right? Make the changes needed. Action, action, action. Make the change needed. It's so important that you do that, because we could go on and write things and say, oh, this is what is required. This is the review. We do the SWOT analysis. We, check cash flow, and we become very innovative with technology, but we don't do anything about it. Sure, you need to put, do something about it, right? So, and even as was I'm saying action, right? I would say that even in under this 7, the action also includes, your milestones, how to check that you've done something, how to check if something is not working, you change it. Remember, action means a lot of things. Make it happen. If it's not working out well, change it, and see ways to improve it, right? Action, 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 right? Is very important. All right, it's very important. All right, so make sure that you're constantly, looking for, after the 6, as I put it again, what works for you. As I said, this is what for me seems to be one of some of the highlights of the some of the important points that you put in place to make sure that as much as possible that you are making a difference in your business, making a difference that difference is a positive one, and your goal is, of course, you didn't get into the business to fail. You got into business to do well. That's your goal. Make sure you thrive. We're not talking about just surviving. We're talking about thriving. And of course, nobody will get into business to fail. All right. So hopefully, again, if go back to the drawing board. Of course, innovative purposes only, and sorry, it's for educating, informative, not innovative. You see, I'm going back to point 4. So, but just to note that. All right. So now let's just jump into a few questions. I believe we have a few minutes. Okay. All right. The first question is, I'm required to file a partnership return, but I understand the partnerships do not pay taxes. Please clarify. Okay. So those in the US, a partnership return is a Form 1065. All right. And it's usually, it was due before, it was due on April 15, but now it's due on March 15. Of course, you can file an extension. Now, partnership returns, this Form 1065, are usually referred to as information returns because, yes, that is very correct. You do not pay income taxes on partnership returns, right? You do not pay. Now, a partnership return is required if you have, of course, 1 or 2 or more owners, right, of the business. Then it's a partnership, right? It's not a corporation, it's not an S corp. And so in that case, the partners get the income is the net income is divided between the partners, right? And of course, the partners' net income is based on the partnership ownership and the ownership interests of each partner. All right. So yes, that is correct. Partnerships, partnerships, partnerships do not pay income tax. But please note, right? Payroll partnerships pay payroll taxes if they are staff working for the partnership. All right. So if the partnership return, yes, no income tax, but the partnership itself pays in payroll taxes. But let's note that the payroll taxes is not because partners are not allowed to collect a salary. Of course, there's guaranteed payments, which is is not what is something else. But in this case, when I'm talking about payroll taxes, is on staff that work for the partnership. All right. So yes, required to file a partnership return. Yes, that's an information return. No taxes in that. No taxes paid. No income tax paid because the income or the net income flows through to the partners, and the partners pay the tax. All right. The partners pay the tax. All right. So so that's correct. And partnership, there's no income tax on partnership returns. All right. The next question. My company is at the point of bankruptcy. Is it advisable to just go ahead and file? Okay. I want you to go back and look for my show. that says that is titled alternatives to bankruptcy. As much as possible, I tell my clients, please, I know it's easy to file. I mean, you can just go and file for bankruptcy. It's not difficult. But the issue is not the filing of the bankruptcy. Of course, there are types of bankruptcy. I'm not going to go into that, but I want to make sure that you understand that a lot of times when you file for bankruptcy, at the end of and you still want to continue with the business or some or want to start something else, you know, usually sometimes um it goes back to see who was the owner of the company. I've seen a case that they almost gave this company a loan, this person a loan to start a new company. It was a done deal. I think it was a done deal. I believe I mentioned that when I talked about this bankruptcy, alternative bankruptcy. But because of this bankruptcy thing, because of the person filed for bankruptcy, in fact, the company filed for bankruptcy, the former company, they said they're not touching this person, right? They didn't. The loan wasn't approved eventually. Now, I mean, things happen. If you have to file, okay. I don't know where this is or where the situation right now, but I always tell my clients as much as possible, let that be the last resort. Talk to your creditors and ask them to give you an extension, right? Look for ways that people can give you an extension. Look for ways that you might be able to turn around your company, right? See with maybe you can bring on a partner, somebody that a shareholder that can actually make a difference. Look for ways. I mean, of course, this is just again informative, educative purposes only, because there could be so many things that could have that maybe involves. But I just want to encourage you as much as possible. Anyone that is thinking of filing bankruptcy in the company, try your best to look for alternative way to avoid that. But again, speak to a professional. I mean, of course, we are always there. I always say that because, if you need to speak, I mean, I am not a bankruptcy attorney or anything, but what I would do is to look for any pockets there. Pockets when I say what can we do to make sure that bankruptcy will not happen to your company. I will look for ways. I'm not saying that, ways when I say ways, maybe, we can analyze. Are we going to, is there a way that your creditors could say, you know what, give you a couple of days. There's somebody that you can bring on, or a couple of things that we can do just to see if it's possible that you don't have to go to the bank, go to, take the bankruptcy route, right? Okay. So the next question I have, is it okay to bring on a foreign partner into my business? That is a non-US resident or a non-US citizen. So my answer is it depends. What When you say bring on, what kind of business, what structure are you looking at? Are you talking about an LLC? Is it called a partnership? What are you actually talking about here? Is it someone that I mean, is it an escort? Okay, so I would say it depends, right? Now, it's okay if there's certain structures that allow you to easily bring on a partner easily. Doesn't matter whether that if it's a U.S. resident or non-U.S. Is if the person is a non-U.S. resident or non-U.S. citizen, it's easy. There's some structures like that, but there's a specific structure that you cannot bring on um, a non-U.S. resident or a non-U.S. citizen as part owner of the business, and that is an S corporation. You cannot do that. So I would say, first of all, that what entity are you talking about? What are you looking at? An S corp? Are you looking at an LLC, a partnership? And so those are the things that I would ask if someone comes to me and asks this question. I mean, comes to my office because I need to know more, right? Or maybe you would say that there's a way I can structure it that is an S corp. Then I mean, we'll have to look at how you want you actually want that person to come on, right? Partner, foreign partners. Well, I would say if it's foreign partner, I would think that you're talking about a partnership. But if you say foreign owner, well, you can look at shareholders and see that. So again, this is broad. I mean, this is depending on so many factors. So I would definitely need for you to actually, I have more information on that. All right. So S corp structure is a very beautiful structure. That the issue for an S corp structure is that it's very important for us to note that for an S corp structure, of course, we're not talking about a trust or anything, but when it comes to a business, um, there are certain, even beyond the number of shareholders, there are certain, no, beyond the type of shareholders, there are certain conditions that apply for an S corp. All right. Okay. All right. Oh, this is another question. Similar to, well, not similar, but it's talking about an S corp. S corp is S corporation. Okay, so I think, yeah, I have a few minutes that I can just put in this last question. Is an S corporation structure better than a C corporation structure? All right. Now, an S corporation structure, um, there are a lot of advantages for an S corporation structure as opposed to a C corporation structure, but I would say it still depends. One of the bad issues or bad things with a C corporation is that you double taxation. One of the great things for an S corporation is that there is no double taxation. An S corporation return, just like the 1065 we talked about, is an 1120S. And with 1120S, is also a flow through entity, right? But unlike a partnership, for an S corporation, you can actually pay the S corp owners a salary. They can all come up with a paycheck, right? They can come up with it. Of course, there's reasonable compensation. If you watch my last video, I mentioned something about reasonable compensation. But the beautiful thing about an S corp, there's no tax on the structure, and on the S corp level, it flows through, right? Now, of course, there are some then there are some for the S corp, there are disadvantages, the restriction. You cannot have everybody being a shareholder of an S corp. You cannot. That's what I mentioned in the question that came before this. Yes, you cannot. There are restrictions in the number of people that can be shareholders, the type of shareholders, even beyond the US resident, non-US citizen, the type of shareholders, and then you can not have different stock. You might say, oh, I want one person to have voting, the other person not to have voting. It wouldn't work on S corp. Everybody has to be the same. All right. I'm not saying that shareholding percentages cannot be different. That's allowed, but it's just is you can't have different voting rights like you have in a C corp. So when you say what is better, I'll just say it just depends. I always like to hear the objective of my client before I tell them this is the route to take. I want to hear what are their future plans? What is it that they're looking at before I tell them choose this over the other? Because if my client is telling me that, oh, you know what, next year I'm going to bring somebody from Switzerland to be a shareholder, or somebody from Argentina, or someone from the Philippines to be a shareholder, that S corp will not work. So I would say it just depends. The answer to my question is that it just depends. All right. To that question, it depends. All right. So it's been another. I know we've a lot today, right? So much that I spoke about today, but happy to be here, and I'm hoping that somebody got something today. And of course, make sure you reach out to a professional. I'm here. Of course, if you want to meet with me, or of course, I talk to people even outside Texas. I'm based in Texas, but in the internet has made the world become smaller. Okay, so go to my website. That is driniadesmia.com, and then you can navigate from there and get to my practice and then book an appointment. All right. very exciting, like very excited to be here. And I'm really appreciating everybody that watched. I know that you could be anywhere right now, but you chose to watch the show. So really saying a big thank you and I really appreciate all of you. So I'll see you next time. But remember, right, to be successful, to make sure that you thrive, right, you have to be intentional. Intentional. You need to be intentional to thrive. All right. See you next time. Bye for now.